Hello, welcome to Better You Solutions with Coach Coleman. Would you take a moment to introduce yourself and let us know what you have to offer?
Okay. My name is Tom Kane. I am an author. I am my most recent work is the Mara of the League fantasy series, which is available on Amazon, and you can get the audiobooks in all sorts of places. And it follows the life of a woman in an imaginary world,
Mhm.
as she discovers dark secrets about her government, and her aunt gets arrested for witchcraft, and as she tries to save her aunt, she sort of finds out, why people are being arrested for witchcraft, and it's not a
Mhm.
pretty answer, and learns more about what's going on. And as she grows older, she tries to change things. The story follows her life in the Middle Age,
Mhm.
and by the end of the series, the politics of it has taken a sort of a shift. And her own country has started to get better in certain ways, and now it's facing a threat from abroad,
Mhm.
and she has to adjust her politics to that. And she is a and by the end of the series, she is working as a spy for the new ruler, and
Mhm.
she's trying to convince her new ruler to take this foreign threat seriously. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. And my
Okay.
background for this is I was a lecturer in international relations at a British university. I
Mhm.
am American, but I spent most of my life in Britain
Okay.
as an academic. And
That's
my
interesting.
real life research as an academic gave me sort of the background material to write a story about spies and international intrigue and war and that sort of thing.
That's interesting that you are American, but you spent time over there as a professor and teaching, and then you were able to come back to write a novel. That's very interesting. What drove you to wanting to write a novel? How did that begin? That journey begin?
Well, I think it's been a lifelong read, sort of thing. I mean,
Mhm.
so to answer the question, that takes me, way back to childhood, really. And I would
Okay.
say that I grew up in a house with a lot of books. People, you know, books and novels and
Mhm.
writing were always sort of in the air. But what really
Mhm.
brought it together for me was that when I was about 11 years old, I had a teacher that read The Lord of the Rings aloud in class, and he did a good job with it. He would do the voices of the character, and if people out there are fans of the book, you might remember the Black Riders, which are sort of supernatural, scary creatures, and they have an unearthly shriek. And I won't do it here, A, because I don't have the vocal skill, and B, because if I did have the vocal skill, I might break people's eardrums, especially if you're using headphones. But
Right.
my teacher did not hold back from those sorts of things. He did the Black Rider shriek, and it's a I was just at the right age for that story. This was just the right way to hear it, and it captured my imagination and made me want to create similar stuff.
Mhm.
And then as I went on through life, uh, I got involved in fantasy role playing games as a teenager with Dungeons and Dragons and that sort of thing. And I
Mhm.
actually did spend about 2 years, right, sort of in my early 20s, as a professional game designer. I moved on and I got my PhD. Went to England, had my academic career, and so
Mhm.
that was a step away from writing fiction. I
Right.
was writing nonfiction books during that time. I was writing, you know, my academic research. Um, but at the same time, it was productive for what I've ended up doing because as I sort of mentioned a minute ago, it gave me material. It helped me bring together, what would actually happen in these situations that I wanted to write about. How does you know how it At least I hope. I hope it taught me a little bit about how politics actually works. If it
Right.
didn't, there's a problem because I was teaching people how it worked.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Your background is what allows you to put so much knowledge and information into your book. It's your drive, and like you said, you've been really at this from a young age, from a very young age. If anybody wanted to purchase your book or get to know you or talk to you a bit more, how can they do that? Do you have a website or social media?
I have all of that. Um, the uh, the books are available on Amazon
Okay.
if you want to jump straight to the books.
Hmm.
And the um, the title of the series is Mara of the League,
Okay.
and you can get the entire series as an ebook box set, which saves you a little money, or you can
Hmm.
buy the books individually. And
Hmm.
the individual books, it starts with I'm gonna have to hold this. I'm gonna see if I can hold this at the right distance for it to show up on the screen. The first
Yes.
book is The Witches of Granite Dale,
Hmm.
and the second book is The Rebels of Car City.
Okay.
And the third book is The Hideous Garden. The fourth is The Rending of the World. And then there's a fifth one called The People versus Abigail Bennett.
And I have a
And
question. With these books, these novels, are there a series? Is it like a series, or they're just individual novels?
they're a series. You can
Okay.
um you can read you can read most of them by themselves. So if you want to just dip in and give it a try, um, I well, actually, I have two suggestions if you want to dip in and give it a try.
Okay.
The first book of the series is a good place to start. It's The
Hmm.
Witches of Craddock Dale, and it introduces the main character as a child. So it has sort of in some ways it reads like a young adult book because the main character is young and
Hmm.
it's written around this child's world. And I I think I obviously I like it. It's the 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 thing that I would say is its flavor is slightly different from the other. So if you if, and the other books are more adult than The Witches of
Right.
Craddock Dale. So if you want to try the adult side of my writing, and again, you want to start small, um, I would in that case I would suggest starting with The People versus Abigail Bennett, which is it's set in the same world. It has some of the same characters, but it is a standalone book, and
Okay.
you don't need to know anything about the other books to get into it. And a couple of other things I'd just like to say about my books.
Hmm.
One is The Marrow of the League Cities is available in audio format. So if you like to listen to your books, that's an option. And it's available on it's available on Amazon Audible, but it's also available on Kobo and I can't even remember them all, but pretty much every platform that sells audiobooks will sell these books. And the second thing is, if you're interested in finding out more about me, and this podcast leaves you wanting more, I do have a website. It is www.thomasmkane, uh, uh, Kane, thomasmkane.com. And if you visit thomasmkane.com, um, and you're interested, I would be honored if you chose to subscribe to my free newsletter, which comes out about once a month. I'll be putting out another one very soon, and there's a button on the website to subscribe.
Okay.
And I am also I'm active I still call it Twitter. I think most people do, but I'm active on the website on the social media application formerly known as Twitter, and I'm active on Facebook. Um,
Okay.
and I'm getting into Blue Sky.
Okay. That's great. That is definitely great to know. I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight and giving us all that information. It's great. And anyone watching this video and you're interested in purchasing his items, they can be found on Amazon. Please, he just mentioned his social media. Find him on social media, follow him as well. And thank you for being on the show tonight.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
No worries.